The Ukrainians have unveiled a long-range ballistic missile called the Flamingo. And while it's new to us, apparently it has been very, very operational and causing a lot of problems for the Russians. But is it already getting an upgrade that'll make life even more difficult for the Russian armed forces? I'm Paul, U.S. Army combat veteran. Let's talk about it. And remember, hit that subscribe button. Now, this has been leaked to Reddit, where they say there's visual confirmation of damage to 4 boats by the FP5 Flamingo cruise missile. They said these are probably from different projects, but what they point out is that these were targeting boats under construction, right? Particularly these kind of small, like riverine craft. And it's kind of interesting because, again, they talk about the fact that these were, targeting these like craft near boats. And people are like, well, why? Well, one, even the Redditors are like, this seems like a weird story. Why expend a rare strategic asset on something strategically insignificant? Now, on one hand, they may say, hey, the ability to ferry supplies across a river very quickly would actually be a kind of a disaster for the Ukrainian armed forces, because in the era of the drone, you simply cannot build a fixed bridge. And the Ukrainians have been working really hard actually to take out a number of Russian bridges to slow kind of their logistics. And so if they could create a supply boats that essentially remain undercover from FPV drones, emerge, ferry a large quantity of supplies quickly across the battlefield, well, it's going to cause a huge issue for the Ukrainians, right? It'll allow Russians to operate on across rivers much more effectively. So it's actually not crazy to target them with a strategic asset. But what I think is most interesting is that the Flamingo project is actually unveiled that it's building a series of systems, the FP7 and FP9 ballistic missiles, as well as air defense system. You can see here from the Ukrainian defense company called Firepoint that it's developed some of these ballistic missiles that is now being rolled out. Right now, obviously, the Flamingo is a cruise missile, which Zelensky called Ukraine's most successful long-range weapon. And this cruise missile, again, the Flamingo. So a cruise missile, guys, is a missile that actually flies along the ground, relatively low, but has long range. And what's important is that its powerful engine allows it to carry a way bigger payload than the existing drones. And it's not clear how many Ukraine can actually build at any one time, but they are certainly trying to scale up production. And if the drone production is any indicator, they'll probably be able to scale it up fairly quickly, especially given that they can access many of the electronics and key parts that Russia is sanctioned for. But also, Firepoint has already announced that the next generation is going to be a medium-range ballistic missile. And here's the thing with ballistic missiles. The FP7 and 9 reportedly have a range of over 200 kilometers, which basically allows them to strike almost anywhere inside occupied Ukraine, and a 150 kilogram payload, which I think is like 3 to 5 times that of existing long-range Ukrainian drones. But what's really important is that unlike cruise missiles, which fly in a flat trajectory with a jet engine, ballistic missiles are rocket-powered and launched high into the atmosphere before arcing back down onto their target. They're only guided during the initial stages of launch, so they could be less accurate than cruise missiles, but they reach speeds so high, right, multiple times the speed of sound, that they can cut right through even the most advanced air defense systems. Like even the Patriots struggle to take out Russian ballistic missiles, like the Kinzhal. And so the advantage that this poses is that Russian air defenses, which are already not that great, are going to have a tremendously difficult time taking out these ballistic missile systems, which means even those high priority targets, right, where Russia deploys tons of its air defenses, tons of its like Pantsir systems, those might get hit by these ballistic missiles. So already the Flamingo has been really delivering some serious damage to the Russian armed forces, right? Yeah, there's these boat strikes, but we've seen videos and footage of Flamingos launching from all kinds of other launch sites, which to me implies, and again, the Ukrainians are never going to allow them to lose the element of surprise, right? So they would never announce, hey, here's a new weapon system, Russia, that we have. You should make sure you prepare defenses against it because we're going to launch it soon. It's not how this works. You launch it and you wait until you are absolutely sure that Russia knows about it. And then you'd release it to the public, right? Because why not? Why not score all the hits you can before you turn around and go, oh, before you go, okay, the enemy's figured it out. It's not a secret. They've put it out. We know that they know. So now we can just tell the public about it, right? And again, are these also these FP7, FP9s, are these also new, or are they already in operation? It's tough to say, right? But again, this could be Firepoint saying, hey, Ukraine, we can build you these too, right? We've designed them. We just need you to approve the funding for them, which is sometimes happens, right? For defense contractors, they need to, well, show what they can do. And that means putting it out in public. But what's interesting is Zelensky said that Ukraine does not coordinate the use of domestically produced long-range weapon systems with the United States, which is crucial. Because again, the U.S. has put restrictions on the ability of Ukraine to conduct long-range strikes with their own weapons. So this is a fascinating workaround. And I would be curious, we're never going to know, for years, probably decades, if there was coordination with the West on this, right? And it may not be the United States, right? Because remember, the EU, European countries, they may not have the ability to build their own cruise missiles or ballistic missiles, but that doesn't mean they don't have the engineering skill to design them, right? Just because you can't manufacture it doesn't mean you can't design it. And if the Ukrainians can manufacture it, someone, say engineers from MI6 in the UK or French intelligence or the Germans might be able to say, listen, we can build you a basic ballistic missile. We can build you. We can design one. We just can't build it for you. Right. And you can see here that FP is also rolling out even more new designs, right? Including a frontline strike drone, right? This looks a lot like a sort of Ukrainian answer to the Shahed, which actually it argues is exactly what it is. You can see in one of their diagrams here where they talk about the fact that, yeah, it's a strike drone, not unlike a Shahed, but also it can act as a relay where, lighter weight Shaheds, instead of a payload, they simply fly overhead, again, 150 kilometers from a truck-mounted coordination station, and act as a relay antenna, passing the remaining 70 kilometers to that strike drone that then takes out another strike package. So this sort of stuff is, again, being rolled out everywhere they can. They're really trying to evolve this drone weapon program. And it's part of the dronification of warfare. As we have talked about in previous videos, the drones are so cheap and so effective and so pervasive that they are replacing what were thought of as absolutely non-negotiably crucial battlefield roles like infantry. And so the fact is that we're seeing more and more when the chips are down, you can actually build a robot army, and Ukraine is well on its way to doing it. Guys, if you appreciate my content and you want to support me and keep me independent, you can do so by subscribing at combatvetnews.com. This is functionally my Patreon or my Substack, where twice a week we drop uncensored combat videos as well as Q&As for members. A huge thank you to our Colonel tier members, guys like Henry Russier, Ida Sky, Call Chris Rossi, AL90, Sergey Zinchenko, D. Stewart, and all of our Lieutenant tier members. We couldn't do it without you guys. Thanks so much. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.